So this is very impromptu in the moment, as you could probably tell by literally hitting record as those sirens you can hear started, and the lighting, and that I'm just realizing, ooh, those some loud sirens. I'm just realizing that I'm also not doing this horizontally. I'm doing it landscape. I don't know which one it is, um, but as you can probably tell by the title, I want to gush really quickly and recommend to you some things, most specifically Alan Watts. I started listening to Alan Watts and also reading some of his books probably in my earlier 20s. I'm 28 now, chronologically, and I started listening to him. I can't remember the exact time, but it was probably 22, 23, somewhere around there. So it's been about 5 or 6 years, and I still listen to him now. I mean, I'm making this because I literally just listened to some of him, and the reason I want to share this with you is because of just the amount of impact this soul has had on me. And I say this soul for a reason because I was just listening to one of his talks, and he was going over this idea of how we are each the universe coming about in this particular way. You know, I am the universe simply going through the experience known as David McEwen. Alan Watts was the universe simply going through the experience of Alan Watts. And it's just things like this and many other insights that he's given me that have consistently helped me to awaken more and more. And by awaken, again, I know that's such a clickbaity word these days, but it just means to open your eyes a little more to the fabric of reality or of what's really going on, to just connect with truth more and more. And I don't think, and there's been plenty of people who have helped me connect with truth and grow in many different ways. There are many phenomenal teachers out there. But for me, Alan Watts was someone I discovered in the beginning, and he's one of the only people that's remained consistent since the very first time I had kind of an opening or an awakening or an insight that I knew was truth and coming from the divine and all that, to where, and consistently have been learning from him all the way up until this moment, and probably will for, who knows, the rest of my existence in this form, as the universe experiencing this thing called David McEwen. And the reason I tell you this is because I want to, of course, encourage and recommend him to you. Because not only was he someone who helped facilitate the beginnings, the origins of me becoming more aware and waking up, he's someone, even as I've gone, along, and I've been I'm way more awakened now, I'm way more aware now, way more connected to what I truly am. Even now, I still get just incredible aha moments and inspiration and just connections to truth when I hear him. I was just literally listening to him, and I will link what I was listening to down below. In fact, let me do this for you, because if you haven't heard of him, let me just link into the description some of my favorite talks. I will link to you some longer ones, and these are all going to be mixed with chill step. If I find that helps get me into the moment. You can also find his lectures with nothing, and it's just the audio. If you prefer not having music in the background, I just prefer that. I will link down below some of my favorites, some that have recently given me aha moments, even some that I used to listen to years ago and still listen to this day. And yeah, it's just, it's so impactful. It's been so impactful on me and so many different people. There's a reason why his stuff is so popular now, because I think it's very needed right now, some of the perspectives he would talk about, because I think he gave lectures in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, something like that. This is a while ago now, before I was born, long before, decades before. And yet, still, despite that, what this soul, who was known as Alan Watts at one point in time, has expressed and taught me has been incredible, absolutely incredible. And I wanted to give you that while I was still emotionally invested and connected to it. You could probably tell. I don't know how my energy is coming off right now. Maybe it's a little less hyper than usual. I'm very relaxed. I also did some Wim Hof breathing in between when he was speaking, which I highly recommend if you want. It's a great practice. Do some breathing when the chill step is going, when the chill step is on, and then You can either do a retention, hold when he starts speaking, and then go back to breathing. And that really helped me to not only be present, it helped me to absorb the information. I was laughing my ass off at one point. I was just, he said something and it just connected as so true, and in the moment also connected in the way of seeing how ridiculous this certain something was, the way in which a lot of people live and the way I used to live, and it just had me cracking up, laughing. I think it was the part where he was talking about this idea of identity. But anyway, that's what I want to give to you, the gift of Alan Watts, I suppose. I'll let him be the gift that gives. Again, down below, take a look at some of my favorites. There's some, again, that whether you're just starting to gain a little more awareness of what you truly are, you're getting more into spiritual concepts, or you're a little further along, you've been doing this for a while, and either way, I think his insights are incredibly valuable and will help you on your journey. So that's it. Different video. I know this was not planned. This was very in the moment, but I hope you'll enjoy it. As always, I love you. You are loved. You are love. And I will see you in the next one.